Hey everyone, Vrime here, and due to something I did on my Twitter because I wanted to make another tier list. What one was the dumb news tier list that you guys saw, but second place was a Jagen tier list, and I'm really interested in this one because I've played a lot of Fire Emblem, and the Jagen is definitely one of my favorite archetypes. They're one of the most useful ones, I find, at least. Especially with Iron Mans and stuff like that. So I really wanted to make one. I'm not ranking every Jagen. For example, a big one that's missing is Titania in Radiant Dawn in Soth. I have not played Radiant Dawn, but if you do want rankings on them, you should check out Mecha's channel, because I know that he does rate them. So yeah. Other than that, I have people all the way up to Awakening, and we're going to rank them all. And yes, I do count Yvel and Dagdar as Jagens. I know it's weird. Thracia is weird. Okay, so first off, we're going to start off with Shadow Dragon exclusively. I haven't played FE1 yet. Shadow Dragon exclusively Jagen. This Jagen is pretty good. He's definitely nowhere near the top. I even hesitate to put him above, like, here. He's really good for hard fives, but his growths are still bad. He can reclass to Wyvern Knight, which is really good, but later people who can reclass to Wyvern Knights will really outclass him and leave you with with almost little to no reason to just deploy him. So I think he's definitely a C tier. He's the original Jagen, and I think he encompasses what it is entirely. We have Aaron next from FE3. I haven't played a lot of FE3, but I've played enough to tell you this. Aaron is not that good. So, he's just... his bases aren't that good. He falls off really fast. Like... and by chapter 3 you get like Paula. He's really, really meh. I can't really give anyone a reason to use him. I might continue playing FE3 for my channel, and I probably will use him since I'm only on chapter 3. But even then, like, I can just tell that he's just not that good. And that he's gonna fall off super fast in comparison to other units. So... definitely not F tier, but man, he's definitely one of the worst for this tier list. And then we have FE12, Aaron, and I can say a little bit more positive about him. I don't think he's as good as Shadow Dragon Jagen, but he's good. He kind of comes with all the same perks as Jagen, except for in FE12, anyone who's promoted can change to Wyvern Knight, and so it really like showcases his weaknesses. And he's definitely below Shadow Dragon Jagen. I don't think he's quite D tier with that Aaron, but oof, it's bad. Next up, we have the top of the tier list. We have Sigurd. He starts at level 5. I also kind of consider Quana Jagen, but I held a poll on my Twitter, and it seems that I'm the only one who does, so I won't be ranking him. But I can see why people think Sigurd is to Jagen. But he starts at level 5. He has great growths. He has Pursuit, kind of all he needs. He will almost always be the best unit in your army. Like, I don't think there's any point in the story of Gen 1 where there's anyone better. Like, Ira with Astra, like once you procs Astra, is maybe better, but Sigurd with a Brave Sword can get the job done probably better, with more movement. So, just one of the greatest units in all Fire Emblem. He's just really busted. I don't think there's enough I can say about him, and even then I don't think it would really show you. So if you need like examples, I do have an FE4 ranked run, and even then, this is in that run I have to hold Sigurd back. So imagine what he'd be like if I wasn't holding him back. So really good. Another really good person is Oifi from Gen 2. He gets A tier. He's not quite Sigurd level. His bases are really good, but his growths aren't as good as Sigurd's. And I just don't think he ever reaches the peaks that Sigurd reaches. He's good though. He's definitely one of the best Gen 2 units, and he definitely deserves to be an A tier. But I just don't... He falls off in the late game, because in the late game you kind of want to have a holy weapon. It really helps if you do, but Oifi has no way of getting access to one. And even then, if you give him things like the Brave Sword, he'll be pretty good, but he won't be like your Force Steady user or Cell Lift, or like, you get what I'm saying? He's good, but he's just not like insane like Sigurd. So that's why he's not an S tier. I think Sigurd is probably going to be the only S tier in this video, if I'm being honest. Evel. So, Evel is the one who's probably here for the shortest time. Yeah, because everyone else can just stay. I could put her in F tier for her auto benching, but I think she's more useful than FE3 Aaron. So, you know what? He might be worse because of Reverse Lunatic. I haven't played enough Reverse Lunatic to know. But I definitely think that. No. I think that. She's really good for when you have her. And if she stayed for as long as she could, she'd be good for a pretty long time. But she doesn't. And that, I have to dock points on her for that. Still really good though, and you should definitely use her when you have her. Dagdar. So, it's really funny on my first 3-tier run, because my Dagdar got really good growths, and I ended up taking him to endgame. That being said, I don't think he's insane or anything. He might just barely hit the B tier. I just think he's really useful, especially with his Brave Axe capturing. So, I think I can put him, like, right there. FE5 fans are probably going to flame me in the comments or something. But I think he's pretty good. I think he's better than Shadow Dragon Jagen. Not by much, though. Yeah. I stand by that. FE6 Jagen, I'm going to put him... In my FE6 video, I put him right here in comparison to other FE6 units, but in comparison to these Jagens, I'd put him right here. In comparison to these other Jagens, I think he's pretty good, but he looks a lot like OG Jagen for a reason. He definitely feels a lot like him, except for he's better. He falls off mid-game, which is pretty good. He falls off kind of late into mid-game too, and even then he still has rescue dropping and all that, so I think he's a little bit better than Dagdar, especially since I think FE6 hard mode is harder than Thracia at a lot of points. But yeah. I'm going to put him like right there. Now FE7 Marcus, on the other hand, I've been using him in Hector hard mode, and of course I've beat FE7 once. I'd put him right here. You know what? I'm probably going to do that. He just is so much more useful than Oifi. especially on Hector Hard mode, because it's so funny. Because most Jagens, like, anything below Oifi, well, you know what? Excluding Dagdar. Well, no. Okay. Most Jagens have a problem with one rounding, right? But Marcus almost one rounds every single enemy. And, that you put him up against in FE7 early game. I know that he starts to fall off some in the late game, but even then, I don't think it's like a lot, so yeah, I'm definitely, I'm content with, and I think FE7 Hector Hard mode is a little bit harder than FE4 Gen 2, but then again, I played a lot more FE4 Gen 2. So that could just be my bias talking. And then we have Seth. I'm going to put Seth above Marcus because Seth lasts you to the end game. Other than that, it's for almost all the same reasons as FE7 Marcus. He comes in the early game, he's really good. I could justify putting him in S tier, but I don't think I will. Because the thing about Sacred Stones is, as you guys can see in my difficult Iron Man, it's hard, but it's not like Hector Hard mode hard, or Thracia Manster hard, or anything like that. So, I can't really justify putting him in S tier. And a lot of Sacred Stones units are really good. So, he's not like Sigurd where he just outclasses everyone, because there are people that come in that I think can definitely contend with Seth, like Vanessa when she's promoted, Core Mag in Ephraim route. Like, I do think he's the best unit, but I think that others can compete with him. With Sigurd, I don't think others can really compete with him. So, I'm gonna keep him an A tier for that. It's not really his fault, it's more the game he's in. And then Titania. So, I've been playing through Path of Radiance, and my friend really likes Path of Radiance, and from what he's told me, this is the best unit in Tellius, and I can definitely tell because holy crap is she good. And I'm sure that Path of Radiance's hardest difficulty is harder than Sacred Stones' hardest difficulty. So for that reason, I'm putting her above Seth. And then we have Frederick. So Frederick is an interesting unit. His main utility on Lunatic mode is that he pairs up with Robin, and then he gives her a bunch of defense, and then he S supports her. And then you, like, solo the game with that. So for that alone, for that utility on Maniac mode alone, I think I'm going that. I've used Frederick on every single Awakening playthrough. I usually play on hard. And I usually end up reclassing him into a Wyvern Lord. You really see how his speed, like in mid-game, he'll stop doubling all of a sudden. And when he does, it's scary. Because Awakening, even on hard, some Awakening enemies just don't play around. And I've beat a hard Iron Man of Awakening. If you want to see evidence of that, you can look on my Instagram. But he's good, but I wouldn't say he's FE7 Marcus or Seth or Titania. I would say he's better than Oifi though. Just by a little bit. Him and Oifi are really close though. Next up is Gunther. So, ooh, this one's hard. Gunther is there for the prologue maps. and then he comes up out of nowhere. He'll be okay, but he won't be as good as the rest of your army most of the time. I tried using him on my first Conquest playthrough, and he's just kind of alright. I don't really have anything super good to say about him. Yeah, I think that's good for him. Sorry that the video had to end on a sour note. Oh, I don't like ending on such a sour note, though. Who else could I rank? I don't know. I'll let me look at this real fast and see if I'm going to revise it any. That looks fine. I think it looks fine. So this is my Jagen tier list. I know that you guys disagree, because I've already interacted with someone on Twitter who's going to be really mad about my Gunther placement. But if you liked the video, which I hope you did, I hope you got some enjoyment out of it, hit the like button. If you want more content, then subscribe. And if you have anything you want to discuss or say, leave it in the comments below. I hope to see you all in the next video, and have an amazing day.